welcome back. Northern Gaza could be hit by famine anytime between mid-March and May, and more than 70% of Gaza's 2.3 million population is facing catastrophic hunger. A United Nations-backed report published on Monday has warned some 300,000 people remain trapped in northern Gaza, where people have resorted to eating animal feed in desperation, and at least 27 children have died of malnutrition in recent weeks as Israel has blocked the delivery of aid supplies, including food. The first aid trucks in months entered northern Gaza on Sunday. To talk to us about the activism and specifically social activism is our very special guest, Dr. Saffia Jacobs. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program, Dr. Saffia.
Wa alaikum salam and jazakallah khair for having me.
So I just read that article from Al Jazeera. That's the source that it was from. Your comment on that?
You know, as a medical and a healthcare worker, and somebody who's worked with kids specifically for the majority and the bulk of my career, I've seen malnourished kids, and there's nothing more devastating. There's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing kids who are literally
We've got a connectivity problem there. We're speaking to our very special
their
guest.
blood sugar levels.
Sorry, we lost you there, but it just froze. Your screen froze.
Okay.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so as I was saying, for me personally, somebody who's worked in pediatrics for the majority and the bulk of my career, I have treated and dealt with children who are malnourished, and really there is nothing more heartbreaking than seeing children who have literally become just skin and bones. They struggle to regulate their body temperature. They struggle to maintain their blood sugar levels. They become extremely susceptible to infections, and this is how most of them pass away as a result of complications from malnutrition. It's absolutely devastating. It's heartbreaking. It is so sad. You know, the other day I saw a picture of a family breaking their fast with lemons and boiled grass. And this is the extremes that they are going to just to be able to survive. We cannot even begin to imagine the situation and how severe it is in terms of hunger and food shortage, on top of the constant bombardment that they are still facing in the south.
Mm. So when we talk about the Intifada, of course, we know it as an uprising or resistance, and specifically now in our time, it is again the resistance against the Israeli control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like that there's this term now coined as social Intifada. Can you elaborate on that?
So Social Intifada is a group that was started by lifelong activists and volunteers who've come together to take the digital activism aspect forward. As we've seen this time around, things have been very different, and the narrative is changing because of social media and because we're not relying predominantly on mainstream media. That the rest of the world is not relying predominantly on mainstream media to get the information. We're now getting information straight from the source. We're now getting information from journalists who are on the ground. So this has changed the whole narrative completely, and we have decided to maintain our focus on digital activism, to continue to raise awareness, spread the truth, break down all of the propaganda that's coming out, basically just to take the cause forward, raise more awareness. And as well as that, we also do fundraising events. We do have a ladies conference coming up next week, Saturday, that I would encourage all the ladies to attend. It's going to be a lovely fundraising event, but lots of great speakers, international and local speakers. coming through. That's going to be hosted by Social Intifada. So yeah, it's digital activism and basically just doing whatever little bit we can to make a difference.
Right. Can you tell us more about the event? Where is it taking place and who are your speakers?
Sure. So the event is taking place next Saturday, which is the 30th of March, at the Marks Park Argentinian Hall. The entrance fee is just 50 Rand, and obviously all of the funds that we are raising will be going to Palestine. We are going to be having two speakers from who are global. We've got Sister Zahira Suma, who is a activist humanitarian and has been doing extremely amazing work. She is a South African who currently lives in Canada. And she's been working with many organizations who are on the ground in Gaza and in Egypt. As we know, a lot of Gazans are trying to evacuate, and once they evacuate, there's still the issue of not being able to, access food, accommodation, just the basic necessities. So she's going to be one of our speakers. Then we've got Shireen, who's from the USA, from California, who is also an activist, and she's a healthcare administrator as well. Very active on social media, and a very loud voice for Palestine as well. In terms of our local speakers, we've got Sister Shamshad Sayed, who is the CEO of the South African National Muslim Women's Forum. We've got Farhana Haturani, who's an Islamic educator, mentor, and columnist. We've got Sister Johara Hassan, who's a life coach, NLP practitioner, and Islamic studies student. And then some really look forward to, we've got a sister who is also South African, but was trapped in Gaza and was evacuated in December. So she is Sister Angela, and she's a South African rebirth Muslim. Her story is quite unique, and I've met with her a few times. I've heard her story, and I think just hearing from her firsthand of the experience that she had, really experiencing the genocide, and her husband is still stuck there, so it's still quite a difficult situation for her. So she's going to be giving us that sort of background and first-hand experience of what she has specifically gone through. So those are our speakers for the day, and then we're going to have a few pop-up stalls for Eid gifts and last-minute Eid shopping in that.
Okay, so in terms of your humanitarian work, it's probably been over the years, but now not everyone, but those of us that are conscientious of how important it is for us to be socially active, as you put it, and this uprising that we need to uphold in support of the Palestinian and their struggle, and hopefully be part of the resistance as much as possible. The aid that goes out, because, when you spoke about how helpless we feel and how heart-wrenching it is to see these children, for example, not just the ones that were killed already, but now that are starving to death. This is horribly, if you can use that term, helpless feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to support aid, missions as such, or campaigns. So when you're raising funds for this reason, how do you as an organization make sure that we have, it's going to where it needs to go to, because there's a blockade?
There is a blockade, and I think a lot of people have this concern. They want to help, they want to donate, but they feel like, is our money actually reaching them? So it really just depends on the organization that you're partnering with. Some organizations, each and every single organization is trying their best to get aid through. Some have been a little more successful than the others. Some organizations have been in Gaza for many years. So currently, I'm doing a Ramadan campaign with an organization from the UK called Human Appeal. Human Appeal has been around for 30 plus years. They have been in Gaza for more than 30 years, for 32 years. So they actually have offices and kitchens and a whole infrastructure set up in Gaza. They've got Palestinians who basically run the entire sort of campaign. They do the cooking of the food and they do the distribution. So what this specific Ramadan campaign is about providing hot meals for iftar for these families. It's about sponsoring an orphan. I think I saw earlier today about 17,000 children that have been orphaned, or more possibly. So you can either sponsor an orphan for a month, you can sponsor an entire family with meals for a month. So while working with Human Appeal, what they do is they constantly updating us. So every time, so they are working with an organization in Jordan, and every time a plane is loaded in Jordan with the aid, they are sending us live footage of this. They are sending us videos. They are sending us, you know, exactly what's going into these planes. They usually do like a third of medical aid and so medical supplies and the basic medication, a third of formula, baby formula, and nappies and that kind of thing for babies. And then the last third would be like for food, just food. And so they send us the footage of this, of the trucks going through the Rafah crossing, of the food actually being cooked in Gaza, being distributed. So, you know, we are dealing, specifically when I speak about Human Appeal, we are dealing with an organization that's been doing this for many decades. They've got the infrastructure, they've got the know-how, and they are actively making things happen on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So we, after the break, we speak about your nonprofit initiative, Raising Funds for Palestine. That is the founder, you are the founder of Where for Palestine. We'll be right back.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
With so many investment options today, it's only natural that you might feel a little confused which route to take. Should I buy shares or should I invest in gold bullion? Randery Jewelers now brings you the Zahab coin, an alternative to the Kruger Rand. The Zahab coin, a solid wealth protector in its purest form of 24-karat gold, is the safest way to protect your wealth. So don't just sit there and watch your paper money depreciate. Change to gold. Call Randery Jewelers now at 031 202 4701 or visit www.rjcoin.co.za, situated at 151 Essenwood Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
This Ramadan, spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D tastes nice, no lies.
In the Eastern Cape, children are facing unimaginable hunger. A baby was rescued, fed only powdered drink. A young girl lost her life searching for food. Children eat grass to survive and return to school on Mondays too hungry to learn, some even crying from hunger. Teachers and principals are giving what little they have, but it's not enough. This Ramadan, you can make a difference. Help us support Muslim families in Gqeberha and rural Eastern Cape. Together, we can feed hope, fight hunger, foster change. Donate to the Al-Fida Foundation. Send your proof of payments to admin@alfida.co.za for Section 18A tax certificates or contact us on 041 484 1288.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Full and wellness product wishes all listeners Ramadan Kareem. Download the EmergiVac app today and get free immediate access to the EmergiVac Sharia collection of du'as, hadith, Quran, and much more. When we come back, of course, I'll be back with Saffia Jacobs, our very special guest. Alhamdulillah, before the break, I mentioned your non-profit initiative raising funds for Palestine. You are the founder of Way for Palestine. Please tell us about that.
Way for Palestine is an initiative that I started in October last year. And it came about from me feeling just very helpless, like you were saying earlier, feeling like I needed to do something, I needed to do more. So I decided at that point that I would start this initiative where I would sell Palestine merchandise. So anything from flags to keffiyehs to Palestine t-shirts, ladies' bags, magnets. There's quite a few items. And alhamdulillah, people have been really supportive towards it. And all of the funds that I raise from there, it's 100% proceeds that go towards Palestine. So what I had done in the initial few months between October and December last year, I had donated all of the funds to Gift of the Givers for the Palestine Emergency Relief Fund. This year I've been doing things slightly different in the sense that I have been popping up at events as well, and I will be at the ladies' event next week on Saturday also. And basically what I'm doing is whatever organization or whatever sort of initiative or fund, of course it's got to be Palestine related, that the actual event is supporting, then I will donate the funds towards that specific cause. For example, if it's a PSA event and they are raising funds for PSA ambulances for Gaza, then I would donate the funds to the PSA. With the upcoming events, the funds will be donated to the charity that's chosen by Social Intifada, and so forth. So yeah, that's basically about the initiative.
Mm-hmm. So if we can just go back to the Social Intifada and the movement on social media, we see it very proactive. However, in your experience, having been now personally involved with this, how do you in fact change that narrative? Because a fight against the propaganda is what we're trying to do here now. But how do you do this on your social platforms?
I don't think it's become difficult. I think if anything, we are in a much better position than we were in 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it would have been a lot more difficult to break down that propaganda. But because we have eyes and ears on the ground right now in real time, we are really watching this textbook genocide happen in real time, live in front of us. It's really very difficult for people to not believe what we are posting or what we are showing, because it's the truth that's coming out. So I think this is how the narrative has changed, and this is how a lot of people have become more pro-Palestine, or people who are not actually even bothered about the cause previously have started to take interest in the cause because they are seeing what is happening in real time. And there's no way you can deny that.
Right. So do you monitor the comments? Because you would get pro-Israeli comments as well. What have you seen? If you can share that with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is always going to be the pro-Israeli people, and sometimes not even people, it's the bots, because we know that, they have been paying people to also, comment on pro-Palestinian content, but they also have bots that have been doing this work for them. And I think the best thing you can do is actually to avoid engaging and to ignore this type of content, because the more you engage with them, the more sort of views you are going to give to that specific comment, or whatever piece of content it is. So rather stay away from it. At the beginning, we would all get very worked up about this, and we want to fight. And I think now we're starting to realize that actually, it doesn't actually matter. And they're always going to be there in the background. They're just the background noise, basically.
Right.
And the best thing to do is to ignore it.
Right. And just as long as we are absolutely, and we know, sure of being, sharing the truth, it's there to see, like you say. Now, it's interesting. I think if I'm not mistaken, one of your guests that you said you've invited, Saffia from Canada. I beg your pardon, not Saffia.
Zahira.
Zahira. Oh, okay. If I'm not mistaken, I think we interviewed her last week, and I know that she's under a lot of threat there. So people that are active on social media also face that risk. Have you and your organization faced any of that?
Alhamdulillah, I think, in South Africa, the fact that our country is taking a stand, personally, I have not received any threats. And as far as I know, a social intifada, we have not. In Canada, and I speak to Zahira quite often, we're actually good friends. And, the situation is completely different there. People are, if I could say so, cutthroat or out to get you. It's actually quite scary what's been happening there in Canada. But I think this far, alhamdulillah, we have been fortunate that we haven't experienced any of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose either way, it just makes one stronger, right? In standing up for what's right and doing whatever we can in terms of our resistance in support of the Palestinians. The sad part is, as we speak, we still find that, again, another UN-backed report says the entire Gaza population is experiencing a food shortage, as Israel is accused of provoking famine. So what more can we say about that? Just that we should never stop talking. That's also become a cliched phrase.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cliche, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of people taking a step back because they're starting to feel whatever we're doing is not working. We're posting on social media, we're attending protests, nothing's working, nothing's helping. It is working, it is helping. It's helping in a sense that we've changed the narrative, or we are in the process of changing the narrative too. I am in contact with a lot of the Palestinians, and they keep saying to me, we cannot thank the South Africans enough. Not just the lawyers and our politicians, but the civilians, the South Africans, who showing so much of solidarity and showing so much of support on and off social media. They are all on social media. They all have access to it. And every time they go online and they see, they see us advocating for them. They see us speaking up and standing up for them. They see us going out and protesting for them. It gives them a more of a boost. It increases their sort of will to keep wanting to continue with this fight. So it does make a difference. We cannot stop talking about Palestine. We cannot stop fighting for Palestine. As Muslims, it is, our responsibility that we keep this fight alive. And if we do feel fatigued and tired, yes, we are all only human beings. I've been experiencing this myself, where, there are days where I feel so mentally exhausted and drained by the whole situation that I just want to, take a day off of social media and not look at any post because it just becomes a bit much. That's okay. Take a step back when you need to. Take time out for yourself. Do what you need to do to protect your mental health, but at the same time, know that we've got this responsibility, and we have to keep speaking up for Palestine.
Inshallah ta'ala khair. So thank you for that. And it is important that we motivate each other to keep going because it does become a little heavy. And, when you look at it, we say we should turn away, but we can't turn away. How can we? Because that's such a reality. So we need to feel it. We need to feel it so that we can continue. And of course, inshallah, may Allah make it easy for them. May Allah remove their troubles and struggles, and may it be possible for us to help them in whichever way possible. May Allah accept it from us. And thank you so much, Dr. Saffia Jacobs, for doing such sterling work as a humanitarian, being a medical doctor. Yes, you do, of course, feel it a little more because you know exactly what the consequence is of whatever it is that they're going through. So, alhamdulillah, all the best for your initiative on the 30th and your nonprofit initiative for Palestine, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah for having me on the show.
You're most welcome. Thank you. All right, up next is our competition that everyone's been looking forward to, exclusive to Mid Morning Talk. I'm Najma Kota. We'll be right back.